Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Johnny's Happy Place. It's where once a week, didn't quite fit in the back. Almost had it. Well, let's see if I can fix that. Once a week where we get together and share some things I enjoy, is what I was trying to say. That's good enough. Where's that window frame? Very, very odd. I wish I understood what caused everything in this program to work the way it does. But we're back. Can you hear me? Gotta raise the size there too. There we go. Good enough. All right, you get it. It's Johnny's Happy Place. I read stuff. Let's go. First, we'll check in on the chat chalet. Hi, everybody. There I am. Almost can see the whole desk, but not quite. How very odd indeed. Why don't we try again? Getting closer. There we go. Johnny Millwater's Happy Place. Got everything except the frame. How very odd indeed. That's more like it. Now we got ourselves a talk show desk. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Johnny Millwater's Happy Place. I'm Johnny Millwater. I'm going to read a few things to you, and thanks for being there already. We already got one message. Hi there from Stephanie. Thanks for checking in. Now, let's try again. Let's spin the wheel. I just restarted the thing, so it takes a minute to spin the wheel. Hold on. You would think it'd be just one button, right? But I have to go to a website. Do you have any technical problems today? Am I the only one? I had all kinds of things going wrong. I just got started. And right now I'm having a hard time finding the button that will allow me to spin the wheel. There it goes. Let's see what happens now. Let's start with a poem. To the Poetry Corner. I want to remind you that if you have a favorite poem, you can write to me, and I will be happy to read it here on the show. Let's start with Two People by Boleslav. Takes a minute to load. This is originally written in Spanish and then translated into English. Boleslav Lesmian. Lesmian? I'll get it wrong. It's fun. All right, here we go. We're trying. Let's give me the business. Wait. You can do it. Certainly, you must have some favorite poems. That's what I'm going to do. Instead of wasting this time while it loads. Wow, that is so odd. Well, let's do some Shel Silverstein then. This is Invitation by Shel Silverstein. This is Invitation. How about right there? Right here. There it is. This is Invitation by Shel Silverstein. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. This is How Much by Shel Silverstein. How many slams at an old screen door depends on how loud you shut it. How many slices in a loaf of bread depends on how thin you cut it. How much good inside a day depends how good you live 'em. How much love inside a friend depends on how much you give 'em. One more. This is Listen to the Mustn'ts by Shel Silverstein. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Nice. All right. Let's go check on the chat. So far, nobody except Stephanie, which is certainly lovely to see. Thanks, Stephanie. Maybe I need to... You know what? I think I will. I'm going to try to restart the chat here. So now anything new that comes in, we will be able to see. Here we go. Facebook chat. Refresh cache. All right, now we're in business. Well, nothing to talk about here. Let's spin the wheel. Oh, good, a joke. This is one I got a couple new jokes. I'm psyched. Let's go down to the comedy club. I'll tell you the joke. Adam and Eve are sitting in bed one night. Adam and Eve are sitting in bed one night. Adam and Eve are sitting in bed one night. Eve turns to Adam. She says, "You're cheating on me." Adam says, "Don't be ridiculous, darling. You're the only woman for me. You're the only woman." And they fall asleep. Later on that night, Adam wakes up. He feels sort of a punching in his stomach. He says, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm counting your ribs." That's a new one. All right, then. Back to work. Let's spin the wheel. Ask me anything. That's exciting. Feel free to. By all means, ask me anything. I don't think it'll be an issue. Oh, good. That takes some of the pressure off. Oh, we got a viewer. Welcome. Whoever's there, let me test this out. Hi. Good, good, good. Ask me anything. Hi is working. Everything is great. Let's spin the wheel. A little bit more coffee. All right, settling in. Getting a little better. Another poem. All right, headphones on, folks. Here we go. It's poem time. To the Poetry Corner. I love reading poetry. If you have any favorite poems, don't hesitate to let me know. Here we go. This is Masks by Shel Silverstein. She had blue skin, and so did he. He kept it hid, and so did she. They searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by and never knew. One more. Pancake? By Shel Silverstein. Who wants a pancake sweet and piping hot? Good. Little Grace looks up and says, "I'll take the one on top." Who else wants a pancake fresh off the griddle? Terrible Teresa smiles and says, "I'll take the one in the middle." Fun. Let's spin the wheel. Wow, that is 3 in a row. I refuse. I'm going to give it a double spin and hope for the best. If it hits poem again, I'm calling an audible. I have the authority. It's my show. Yeah, that's right, I said it. A cappella. All right, then, let's sing a song to the theater. Let's see. Let's do One for My Baby. Do 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 do. Ba ba da 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 do 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 do. It's 2:45. There's no one in the place except you and me. So set 'em up, Joe. I've got a little story you ought to know. We're drinking, my friend, to the end of a brief episode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. I got the routine, put another nickel in the machine. I'm feeling so bad, can't you make the music easy and sad? I could tell you a lot, but a man has gotta be true to his code. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. You'd never know it, but buddy, I'm a kind of poet, and I've got a lot of things I'd like to say. So when I'm gloomy, won't you listen to me till it's talked away? So that's how it goes, and Joe, I know you're getting anxious to close. Thanks for the cheer, I hope you didn't mind my bending your ear. But this torch that I found has gotta be drowned, or it soon might explode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. That long, long road. Oh, Tony's here. Very nice. Let's go to the chat chalet. Hey, Tony's here. My buddy Tony Knuckles from Pennsylvania, he says to the show, he says that your 30 minutes is way faster than mine. That's what my wife says. But it's true. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see you, bud. I know you've been doing a whole lot of live streaming too. Have you picked up anything new? We never got a chance to talk. I gave you my phone number last week, but you never texted me about how to frame these for TikTok. I've started using Square instead of 16:9 for shots like this where I'm a little bit higher up. So there's still room for words up here, but there's still room for the information. And then 16:9 for when I'm far away, because it was just too close. It was just too much giant fat face. I hope that helps. Okay. How you doing, Tony? Welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's spin the wheel. Notice I'm also using less music in the show. I've been getting a copyright warning every time, and even though everything I use is either public domain or, Zen Cohen, or let's go to the campfire. It's either public domain or royalty free. Something is still coming up, so I continuously take off one piece of music at a time so that I can tell which one is which. Let me make myself a little bit bigger in this shot. It's a little bit too small for my taste. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't go over there. Just me. Just me. There we go. What? Why would... Oh, so mad. Why is that happening? That doesn't even make sense. Doesn't matter. All right, here we go. Zen Cohen, I believe we have made our way to at least 3 or 4. So let's see if I can find a Zen Cohen real quick. Zen Cohen number 1, of course, was make sure that your cup is empty so that it can be filled. All right. This is problematic. Here we go. Zen Cohens we're trying to find. If you have a favorite Zen Cohen, don't hesitate to write to johnnymillwater@gmail.com and tell me your favorite Zen Cohen, and I'll read it here on the air if I can find my list of Zen Cohens. There it is, folks. It's going to be okay. We got it. Here we go. I believe we were up to number 3, but it's going to take just a second to get there. Meanwhile, hope you're doing well. How about that new Doctor Who? I enjoy those new. Those are fun. Okay. It's thinking. Zen Cohens, as many of you know, are tools used to teach Japanese Zen Buddhism, usually specifically with a specific point, or you have to find the point yourself. We had last tried If You Love, Love Openly. I believe we had come to number 6, No Loving Kindness. Here we go. This is Zen koan number 6, No Loving Kindness. There was an old woman in China who had supported a monk for over 20 years. She had built a little hut for him and fed him while he was meditating. Finally, she wondered what progress he had made in all this time. Oh, wait a minute, we read this one last week. Let's try announcement. Number 7, announcement. Hold on. This is Zen koan number 7, announcement. Tanzan wrote 60 postcards on the last day of his life and asked an attendant to mail them. Then he passed away. The cards read, I am departing from this world. This is my last announcement. Tanzan. July 27th, 1892. My last announcement. Something to think about. Want to do number 8? Yeah, let's go ahead and do number 8 while Tony tells me about his camera, and then we'll come back. This is Zen koan number 8, Great Waves. In the early days of the Meiji era, there lived a well-known wrestler named Onami, Great Waves. Onami was immensely strong and knew the art of wrestling. In his private bouts, he defeated even his teacher, but in public, he was bashful, so bashful that his own pupils threw him. Onami felt he should go to a Zen master for help. Hakuju, a wandering teacher, was stopping in a little temple nearby, so Onami went to see him and told him of his trouble. Great Waves is your name, the teacher advised. So stay in this temple tonight. Imagine that you are those billows. You are no longer a wrestler who is afraid. You are those huge waves sweeping everything before them, swallowing all in their path. Do this, and you will be the greatest wrestler in the land. The teacher retired. Onami sat in meditation and tried to imagine himself as waves. He thought of many different things, then gradually he turned more and more to the feeling of waves. The night advanced, the waves became larger and larger. Then they swept away the flowers in their vases. Even the Buddha in the shrine was inundated. Before dawn, the temple was nothing but the ebb and flow of an immense sea. In the morning, the teacher found Onami meditating, a faint smile on his face. He patted the wrestler's shoulder. Now, nothing can disturb you, he said. You are those waves. You will sweep everything before you. The same day, Onami entered the wrestling contests and won. After that, no one in Japan was able to defeat him. I liked it. All right. Let's go back to the chat. We got friends here. All right. My 30 minutes is way faster. Already did that joke. I answered my question last week. Very glad to hear that. Glad it came across. I didn't know. I got the text. I felt bad. And then Tony says, so tell us about this new camera that caused all the issues this morning. Well, I'll tell you, Tony. I'm using the same camera. I like to use my phone as the camera because it's got an excellent camera built into it. But what I like to do, and you should use this as a matter of fact, this is handy. What I traditionally have done is I go to a website, which is video.com. I believe it's a video, you know what, it might not be video, but I think it's video.com. And what it does is it just, it turns your camera on and you can live stream from your camera, or you can just have a full screen camera shot. That's what I'm using. I have a full screen camera shot with a direct USB connection to the computer and a green screen behind me, and using that as a source. Today, I tried to use one without the internet involved. I tried to use a program that was installed, an app. It's the iOS camera. And it worked fine in rehearsal, but as soon as I went live, you saw what happened. It stopped working. So that's what happened. It was the iOS app that failed me, and I'm back to Video Ninja. That's what I believe it is, VDOninja.com, which is a very, very handy tool, especially if you have more than one camera and you don't want to connect them all by hand. So there you go. Hope that answers your questions. And I think that's it for now. Let's spin the wheel some more. A cappella, another song. All right then, here we go. See if I can't find something. I love to sing, but let's not overdo it. How about Everyone is Gay by Great Big World. If you're gay, then you're gay. Don't pretend that you're straight. You can be who you are any day of the week. You are unlike the others, so strong and unique. We're all with you. If you're straight, well, that's great. You can help procreate and make gay little babies for the whole human race. Make a world we can live in where the one who you love's not an issue. 'Cause we're all somewhere in the middle. We're all just looking for love to change the world. Ah, ah. What if world stops spinning tomorrow? We can't just keep running away from who we are. Ah, ah. If you're gay, then you're gay. If you're straight, well, that's great. If you fall in between, that's the best place to be. You've got so many options. Every fish in the sea wants to kiss you. Mwah. Ah. 'Cause we're all somewhere in the middle. We're all just looking for love to change the world. Ah, ah. What if the world stops spinning tomorrow? We can't keep running away from who we are. Ah, ah. And we're all here in it together. We're one step closer to breaking down the walls. Ah, ah. Everyone is gay. Hooray! Da, 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 da. Great Big World, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fun tune. I enjoyed that. The window looks new. Let's go back to the chat. You're probably talking about this thing behind me now. I'm trying to change this every week. I leave the cityscape in and put a different background in for the Johnny and the opening credits and the screen behind me, if that's what you're talking about. If there's a different frame than that, let me know. Thanks for noticing, man. I appreciate you paying attention. It means a lot to me. All right, let's spin the wheel. Haven't done a single monologue yet. No wisdom. I don't like it. So I'm going to call an audible if one of those two don't come up. Or a short story. I got a really great short story. Oh, who's the third Millwater? That's exciting. Back to the... we've already done 3 poems. I'm calling it. I am calling short story. Let's go to the theater. I spent several hours this morning trying to copy from a digital ebook my personal copy of Norm Macdonald's, let's see, let's get the shot right. Norm Macdonald's Based on a True Story. And this is from his wonderful book, Norm Macdonald, Based on a True Story. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Don't know how long it is, but I think it's pretty long, and I'm pretty excited about reading it. It's my favorite part of the book. This is The Best Gig I Ever Had by Norm Macdonald. Wait, we'll do this. This is the best gig I ever had by Norm Macdonald. I'd gotten a gig doing comedy at a hospital for the patients. It didn't pay any money, but that's not why a comic does a gig like that, you know? You take that type of gig just because you want to be a good person and receive eternal life. Son of a bitch, the drive was long. Why'd they build a hospital so damn far away from everybody? I couldn't figure. It was way out in the middle of northern Ontario, where you have to pray your car doesn't break down. And if it does, you have to pray you freeze to death before the Timberwolves find you. Well, just making a quick adjustment. And if it does, you have to pray you freeze to death before the Timberwolves find you. And we're back. Well, that's what we were doing. After all, they owned a hospital and I was just some guy in a car asking questions to myself. Suddenly, in the middle of nothing, there the infinite nothing of the sky meets the infinite nothing of the snow. I saw something. It was a small, Small, square, blue sign. A sign indicating a hospital ahead. It may as well have read "Last chance for a heart attack for 800 miles." I was getting close and getting nervous, too. Maybe it was the barbed wire around the perimeter. Or maybe it was the armed guards. What kind of hospital was I playing, anyway? I got my answer quick enough because it was written on the big sign. Hospital for the Criminally Insane. My agent had never been big on details. It took me a while just to get into the place. First they patted me down and took all my weapons and all my drugs. Then they looked up my ass and took those weapons and drugs too. But finally they let me go from the outside to the inside. "Take me to the warden," I demanded. "This is a hospital, son. There's no warden." "Fine, then take me to the entertainment director." We walked down a long corridor filled with howls of anguish and high wailing screeches. Every cage I passed had a guy in it, and every guy was acting odder than the last. The first guy was scratching his hair real hard, even though it had been shorn close, like he was trying to scratch inside his head or something. He just kept saying, "I was at John D. Rockefeller's funeral. I was at John D. Rockefeller's funeral." Then the next guy was just staring at me, stone still. And he had a big smile on his lips, but his eyes were cold dead. I started laughing to beat hell. "How do you work at all these characters all day and not crack up?" I asked the orderly. "Oh, you get used to it." "What about the guy with the dead eye standing there?" I asked. "What'd he do to get in here?" "Oh, his name's Fred Henshaw. He took his mother out to the cold northern tundra where the sun never sets, and he cut off her eyelids. That way, she couldn't sleep or even shield her eyes from the sun. Then Fred had her wander around, tripping in the snow, falling, getting back up, falling again every day. Fred would take a hypodermic needle and remove a half a pint of blood from the old lady. After about a week, his mother just lay down on the hard snow. Then he sat down and waited for the crows to come." "Oh, my God, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. What about the guy before him, Mr. Itchyhead? What did he do?" "Oh, him? Trust me, you don't want to know." These characters' shenanigans had become less amusing after I heard their backstories. I was starting to get real nervous about the show, thinking that maybe these guys wouldn't be able to relate to my comedy. I mean, how could they be expected to understand the difference between cats and dogs, or the difference between Los Angeles and New York, if they didn't understand the difference between right and wrong? I was shown into the room, where I met the entertainment director. "Listen, pal, I want to do good and all, but I think this is a big mistake. When I heard this was a hospital, I imagined sick people, really sick people, the kinds you want nothing to do with. Some of these fellas, why, they look healthier than you and me." "Oh, don't worry. You'll do fine. We had the Gatlin brothers here last week." "The Gatlin brothers?" I couldn't believe my ears. But then the guy showed me in the room, and it was world class, with steep stadium seating and perfect acoustics. I'd only seen a fancy room like that one time, and that was for a crowd made up of people who'd never slaughtered a single person. Never slaughtered a single man. It was like a broken calculator. It just didn't add up. How is it these monsters deserve such a fancy venue? Well, let me explain something, Norm. You see, technically all these fellows are not guilty. You see, they're not guilty by reason of insanity. Do you understand? No. Every one of these men has been found not guilty in the eyes of the law. Oh. Well, that shed a different light on the situation. If these guys weren't guilty of anything, then they deserve the best show I could give them. I guess I always kind of knew that deep down, but it took the entertainment director to make me realize it. Soon showtime arrived, and I stood in the wings, peering through the curtains. The room was made to hold about 500, but there were only roughly 7 people assembled. Where is everybody? The entertainment director, I can't understand it. There's not a single other form of diversion in this hospital for the criminally insane. And then he looked at me. Looked like it was my fault. "It's not my fault," I said. "When we had the Gatlin brothers, we were turning people away. Crazy people." It broke my heart. Well, Get on out there, you're on. And then he pushed me toward the stage, really hard. I hit the stage to silence. Hey, good evening, folks. How many of you out there own an answering machine? None of us. That's how many, answered one, and the other 6 grumbled in assent. You got any Tuesday? Oh, sorry. You got anything to say? You got anything to say? You got any complaints? Tuesday morning's meeting's the place to bring 'em up. Kowalski, the guard said. You know that. Now pipe down and let the man speak, said the guard. Anyhow, I continued, I got one, and they're more trouble than they're worth, huh? And anyways, say a man phones you, and I just couldn't go on. One of the criminally insane men had found his way onto the stage and had begun biting my leg hard, and the guard had begun striking him with the business end of a baton. But that just caused the criminally insane man to dig his teeth in deeper. I started shrieking, and the audience got a big kick out of that, so the other patients began to wander in, see what the commotion was. And by the time they finally shed my leg of the criminally insane man's teeth, the place was packed, everybody clapping and cheering and biting. It was the greatest show I ever had. That was a weird reading. Back to the chat. There we go, back to the chat. I'll tell you what went wrong with that reading. That was, excuse me. It was all formatted incorrectly, so I only had one word per line. So I lost my place a lot. Thanks for being patient. So Tony, tell me more. You telling me you got a special day, 3rd Millwater to your friends list. Now there's John Millwater, there's Kim Millwater Harrison. I assume she's your friend. Jim Millwater, he's usually in here. Stephanie, she's in here now if she came back. Is that who you're referring to? And he said, Omaha! I think he might have played the same room that Norm did in that story. Nice. All right, let me check the numbers real quick. Perfect. Just you and me, Tony. Any requests, bud? Let's spin the wheel. Let's see. Did a Zen Cohen. We did a poem. Did several songs. Did one joke. Could use a few more jokes. Nah, another Zen Cohen. Why not? To the campfire. Do you have any favorite life lessons that you've learned through various stories? I'll read them. Just put them in the chat. This is Zen Koan number 9. The moon cannot be stolen. Ryuken, a Zen master, lived the simplest kind of life in a little hut at the foot of a mountain. One evening, a thief visited the hut, only to discover there was nothing to steal. Ryukan returned and caught him. You have come a long way to visit me, he told the prowler, and you should not return empty-handed. Please, take my clothes as a gift. The thief was bewildered. He took the clothes and slunk away. Ryukan sat naked, watching the moon. Poor fellow, he said. I wish I could have given him this beautiful moon. Nice. Up next is Zen Koan number 10. We all look forward to that. Spin the wheel. Yay, a joke. All right, this is terrible. I just learned this one the other day. To the joke room. The comedy club, I suppose. There we go. A lady moves to town and she gets a job at a toy factory. She's never worked there before, so she's not sure what she's doing, but she tries her best. After the first day, the supervisor sees that she's going very, very slowly. She's supposed to be doing 60 to 80 units per hour. She's doing like 3 or 4. So he goes over to look at what she's doing. They're making Tickle Me Elmos. He goes over to see what she's doing, and he sees that she's taking these little silver balls and she's crocheting like red fur around them and then attaching 2 of them to Tickle Me Elmo. And he says, what's the problem? What are you doing? And she says, well, I know I'm supposed to do 3 per minute, but every pair is taking me 6 or 7 minutes. I don't understand how I'm supposed to do it. And the guy says, no. It's 3 test tickles per minute. Test tickles. Cheesy. Love it. All right, let's spin the wheel. What do you mean by Omaha? You know what I'm calling monologue? I'm calling monologue. Haven't done a monologue yet, and I want it. They're fun. I haven't done any Shakespeare yet either. That's poems. Give me but a moment. Monologues. There we go. Did Bacon. Let's do. Boy, I don't have enough monologues, man. Let's do some Systemic Racism by Norm Macdonald. Do some more Norm. This is Systemic Racism by Norm Macdonald. We got problems in this country. For instance, systemic racism. And here's the problem. Nobody thinks they're racist. I remember one time I was in Portland, Oregon, and the driver picked me up and took me to the gig. I got off the airplane, the driver's driving, and we're driving through downtown Portland, and he says, you know, we got no racists in Portland. No racism at all. And I looked around, and, you know, everybody was white. So I says to the guy, I said, well, it's pretty easy not to be racist when everybody's white. And then the guy, well, he says to me, he says, we got our share. Oh, Lord, we got our share. That's not right. Why are not all, but a lot of drivers for some reason, like taxi drivers and some, turn out to be racists, you know? That's what I hear a lot because I don't drive. So I get in a cab and they'll go, you know what's wrong with this country? And I go, I got an idea. What is it? And you never have it when the guy says it and you don't even know which race it is. Like I had a guy once, he said, you know what the problem in this country? And I said, go ahead and tell me. He goes, too many goddamn scuttleheads. And I was like, huh? So I looked it up in the dictionary in Wikipedia everywhere. I found scuttle. I found head. And I tried to put them together. I couldn't understand it. I've asked people of every race, and no one has ever heard of the term scuttlehead. By the way, I'd be fine if we just blamed all of our problems on the scuttleheads. You know what I mean? Just make them the scapegoats. As a matter of fact, why not make the goats the scapegoats like the old days? Sacrifice a goat. Make it his problem. He's the one. He's at fault. That goat eating a tin can. There we go. Systemic. Omaha. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's what calling an audible is. Now I know. Whew, it's weird. There we go. Had like a weird thing going on with the hair. Don't care? Fair enough. Let's spin the wheel. Who was the third Millwater, by the way, Tony? Shakespeare. Finally, to the Shakespeare stage. Let's start over. This will irritate Dad. This is sonnet number 1 by William Shakespeare. From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decrease, his tender air might bear his memory. But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, feed'st thy flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies. Thyself, thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel. Thou, that art the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring, within thine own bud buryest thy content, and, tender churl, make waste in niggarding. Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee. Nice. I'm doing the sonnets. I don't care. I like the sonnets. Oh, ooh. When I call an audible, Omaha. There it is. That's what we're talking about. Thanks, bud. Back to the wheel. Only 30 minutes left. We've done Shakespeare. We've done a Zen cone. based on the true story is awesome. A cappella, I don't know, but Tony doesn't like my singing. Just pick something else. Wisdom, finally. We're doing Alan Watts today. All right, just want to check the shot. I'm where I'm supposed to be, and here we go. You are a function of what the world is doing. You are a function of what the whole universe is doing, in the same way that a wave is a function of what the whole ocean is doing. That's wisdom from Alan Watts. Through our eyes, the universe is perceiving itself. Through our ears, the universe is listening to its harmonies. We are the witnesses through which the universe becomes conscious of its glory, of its magnificence. That's wisdom from Alan Watts. All right, let's spin the wheel. Dad's the third. Yay! Miss Dad. You should really read based on a true story. It's fantastic. And I'm going to read several more stories from it. A cappella. Why not? Let's do a quick song. To the theater. Feel like doing this Bo Burnham tune. Let's do Art is Dead. 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 Entertainers like to seem complicated, but we're not complicated. I can explain it pretty easily. Have you ever been to a birthday party for children and one of the children won't stop screaming? He's just a little attention attractor. When he grows up to be a comic or actor, he'll be rewarded for never maturing, for never understanding or learning that every day can't be about him. There's other people, you selfish asshole. I must be psychotic. I must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention. I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion. I'm wearing makeup. I'm wearing makeup, makeup, makeup. Art is dead, so people think you're funny. How do we get those people's money? Said art is dead. We're rolling in dough while Carlin rolls in his grave, in his grave, in his grave. The show has got a budget. The show has got a budget. And all the poor people, way more deserving of the money, won't budget, 'cause I wanted my name in lights when I could have fed a family of 4 for 40 fucking fortnights. 40 fucking fortnights. I am an artist, please God forgive me. I am an artist, please don't revere me. I am an artist, please don't respect me. I am an artist, feel free to correct me. A self-centered artist, a self-obsessed artist. I am an artist, but I'm just a kid, I'm just a kid, I'm just a kid, and maybe I'll grow out of it. The brilliant Bo Burnham, ladies and gentlemen. Who doesn't love Bo? Thanks, bud. All right, the wheel. Gotta, excuse me, a little bit under the weather today. A cappella, we did it. Here we go. A little more coffee will fix me right up. Drinking coffee this morning? What's your brand? Shakespeare! To the Shakespeare stage. Let's do Claudius. There we go. Shakespearean plague. Sorry, folks. Here we go. Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, and that it is us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature that we, with wiser sorrow, think on him together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, th' imperial jointress to this warlike stake, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale, weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along. For all our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bands of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now, for ourselves and for this time of meeting, this much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of his nephew's purpose, to suppress his feathergate herein, in that the levies, the lists, and the full proportions are all made out of his subject, and we dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king, more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. Fun. Spindly. As from Hamlet, I don't know which part. Love Claudius. The best version I ever saw was Patrick Stewart. He played him so likable. It was incredible to see. All right, let's spin the wheel. Roses and thorns. All right, it's just you and me, bud, but let's do it. To the chat, roses and thorns. You guys know how it all works, roses and thorns. I'll tell you my roses this week, something I've really enjoyed. I have spent my mornings, my kids get up very, very early. I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, and my last kid is not on the bus until about 8:30 in the morning, so I have about 3 hours of just have stuff in the background every day. And I started watching Dave Letterman's YouTube channel, and he is just impressed to hell. I love Dave Letterman. I love the show when it was on. I got to see it once live from the audience. It was big and important. I loved it. Dave talked to me. That was super cool. But it's really interesting to see the show through the perspective of his staff. He's the way that he's putting the old clips up is staff picks. So he sends a camera crew to wherever the intern and the writer and the producer, where they all work now, or maybe they're home, and they sit and they look at the camera and they say, my favorite part was this, my favorite part was that. And then they show the clip, and I've seen 30 of them. It's just better and better and better. Dave working at Taco Bell, Dave sending out Rupert G with the glasses on, telling him what to say, almost getting a fight with that nice lady. There's dropping bowling balls into a bathtub full of pudding, stuff like that nobody else ever thought of. So one of my roses is watching a whole lot of Dave this week. Dave Letterman makes me happy, so that's a big rose. Thorn got a little bit of a cough. The kids went to a theme park last night, and I decided not to go because I get freaked out by people, as I've mentioned to you before. Speaking of getting freaked out by people, my daughter, Charlotte, had her very first show, her first time up on stage. She was in, I'll tell you about this, she was in orchestra and band for the third grade show. So for orchestra, what they did, I've never seen anything like it. They had one row, they had 7 kids that were all violas, 7 kids that were violins, and then 7 kids that were chapels, that were cellos behind them. And they each got a round of applause. And then the teacher came out, and she had a violin, and she played a D. And then all the kids tried to play as close to a D as they could. And they did that once. And then she wanted to try something else, so she went, to show the different kind of stroke. Anyway, it sounded like an Amber Alert, and it was very, very weird. And then each row got its own round of applause again. I've never seen a performance with one note, and I kind of dug it. But she did a great show, and then she had a solo in the poem, I'm Not Afraid of Life. That's pretty cool. I got to get that poem. That's one that's by Angela. I don't know her name. Sad but true. By, come on, help me out, Tony. Help me out. Maya Angelou. I had all the syllables just the wrong order. Maya Angelou wrote that wonderful poem, and I'm going to look it up right now. Meanwhile, we went out to dinner that night, and when we went out to dinner, because I'd been around people so much at the school for a couple hours, I kind of freaked out. We went to Olive Garden, and there were too many people there, and I had to leave. So, I'm Not Afraid by Maya. It's a nice poem, Maya Angelou. And I haven't read any Maya Angelou, and by God, I should. Life doesn't frighten me. Here we go. Open link in new tab. And I'll read it just for you, bud. Oh, nice. That's convenient. Here, I'm going to open up the poetry because I can actually do it for real. Let's see. Poetry corner. Here we go. Turn this back on. Very excited to share with you a Maya Angelou poem for the first time. This is Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Maya Angelou. Whoops. Let's start over. Shaking the camera. This is Life Doesn't Frighten Me by Maya Angelou. Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud, big ghosts in a cloud. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Mean old Mother Goose, lions on the loose, they don't frighten me at all. Dragons breathing flame on my counterpane, that doesn't frighten me at all. I go boo, make them shoo, I make fun when they run. I won't cry, so they fly, I just arrive. They go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Tough guys fight all alone at night. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Panthers in the park, strangers in the dark. No, they don't frighten me at all. That new classroom where boys will pull my hair, kissy little girls with their hair in curls. They don't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen to my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. I've got a magic charm that I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and never have to breathe. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Not at all. Not at all. Life doesn't frighten me at all. It scares me a little bit. That was fun. It's the first time I've been able to look it up and then read it right away. Right on. Nothing else for... Whoop, Tony told me some more. No word from Tony since the issues we were singing. So, let's see. No roses and thorns for Tony, so we'll keep moving. To the Wii. Wisdom. I've got some wisdom for you. Hold on. I have realized that the past and future are real illusions, that they exist in the present, which is what there is, and all there is. That's wisdom from Alan Watts. Jesus Christ knew he was God. So wake up and find out eventually who you really are. In our culture, of course, they'll say you're crazy and you're blasphemous, and they'll either put you in jail or in a nut house, which is pretty much the same thing. However, if you wake up in India and tell your friends and relations, my goodness, I've just discovered that I'm God, they'll laugh and say, oh, congratulations, at last you found out. That's wisdom from Alan Watts. The more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless. That's wisdom from Alan Watts. All right, back to the wheel. Monologue, oh good, I love those. To the theater. Oh, no, that's Shakespeare. Hold on. Hey, you're a movie fan, aren't you? If there's anything you can think of, any movies that have really good monologues that you'd like to see interpreted by me, just let me know in the chat. And I will learn about your monologue and I will give it a try here on the show. This is, let's see, how about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. You ever think of yourself as actually dead, lying in a box with a lid on it? Nor do I really. It's silly to be depressed about it, you know? I mean, one thinks of it like being alive in a box. One keeps forgetting to take into account the fact that one is dead, which should make a difference, shouldn't it? I mean, you'd never know you were in a box, would you? It would just be like being asleep in a box. Not that I'd like to sleep in a box, mind you, nor without any air. You'd wake up dead for a start. And then where would you be? Apart from inside a box. That's the bit I don't like, frankly. That's why I don't think of it. Because you'd be helpless, wouldn't you? Stuffed in a box like that, I mean, you'd be in there forever. And even taking into account the fact that you're dead, really, ask yourself, if I asked you straight off, I'm going to stuff you in this box now, would you rather be alive or dead? Naturally, you'd prefer to be alive. Life in a box is better than no life at all. I expect. You'd have a chance, at least. You could lie there thinking, well, at least I'm not dead. In a minute, somebody's going to bang on the lid and tell me to come out. Yeah! What's your name? Get out of there! Ah! I wouldn't think about it if I were you. You'd only get depressed. There you go. Monologues. Fun. Oh, that's, of course, is from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard. All right, spin the wheel. Wisdom. Nice. Never get enough. Of course, if you have any favorite quotes, you should share them with us. Here we go. Here's some wisdom from Mr. Alan Watts. We are living in a culture entirely hypnotized by the illusion of time, in which the so-called present moment is felt as nothing but an infinitesimal hairline between an all-powerfully causative past and an absorbently important future. We have no present. Our consciousness is almost completely preoccupied with memory and expectation. We do not realize that there never was, is, nor will be any other experience than present experience. We are therefore out of touch with reality. We confuse the world as talked about, described, and measured with the world which actually is. We are sick with a fascination for the useful tools and names and numbers of symbols, signs, conceptions, and ideas. That's some wisdom from Alan Watts. Spin the wheel. Ooh, Patton's opening speech. Good one. Send that to me in Messenger. Patton's speech. I don't know that one yet. Cool. Thanks, bud. Wisdom. Just did wisdom, so let's spin the wheel. Too much wisdom. Let's go tell jokes. I need a few jokes. Oh, that's campfire. Go to the comedy club. See if I can't do 3 or 4. Oh, I'll tell this one first. A man goes up to a sandwich counter at a truck stop. A man goes to a truck stop. He walks up to the sandwich counter. He sees a sign behind the counter. It says $10 for a hand job, $1.25 for a grilled cheese sandwich. So he asks the lady behind the counter, "Are you the one who give the hand jobs?" She says, "Yes, I am." He says, "Wash your fucking hands. I want a sandwich." Nice. How about, let's see. The police are called to an apartment and find The police are called over to The police are called to an apartment and find a woman standing over a lifeless man holding a bent and twisted 5-iron. The detective asks, "Is that your husband?" "Yes," says the woman. "Did you hit him with a golf club?" "Yes, I did," sobs the woman. "How many times did you hit him?" asks the detective. "I don't know, 5, 6, maybe 7. Look, just put me down for 5. Golf joke. All right, here we go. Another one. 2 men were digging. 2 men were digging a wow, come on. 2 men were digging a ditch on a very hot day. One said to the other, "Why are we down in this hole digging a ditch when our boss is standing up there in the shade of a tree?" "I don't know," responded the other. "I'll go ask him." So the man climbed out of the hole and went to his boss. "Why are we digging in the hot sun and you're standing in the shade?" "Intelligence," the boss said. "What do you mean, intelligence?" The boss said, "Well, I'll show you. I'll put my hand on this tree, and I want you to hit it with your fist as hard as you can." The ditch digger took a mighty swing and tried to hit the boss's hand, but the boss removed his hand before the ditch digger got there, and the ditch digger hit the tree. The boss said, "That's intelligence." The ditch digger went back to his hole. His friend asked, "What did he say?" "He said we're down here because of intelligence." "What's intelligence?" said the friend. The ditch digger looks around for a tree, doesn't see one, so he puts his hand in front of his face and says, "Take your shovel and hit my hand." There you go. Jokes. We all enjoy those. Let's spin the wheel. Got to get Patton's speech. That's terrific. Feelings. All right, let's go to the feelings. Back to the chat chalet. Been feeling pretty good. This week has been a little bit of a malaise. I get up at 5:30. I get the kids in the bus by 8:30. I do a little bit of work between 8:30 and 9. Sometimes I'll work with somebody else. I'll have lunch with somebody, or I'll just stay at home and play video games. Then I take a nap. Then I make dinner, and that's pretty much been it. Doing the same thing over and over again never feels great, but I love the time spending with the kids in the morning. That makes me really happy. So I can't really complain about that. It made me sad when they went to the theme park and I didn't go with them, and it made me sad when I had a freak out. We were at dinner. It was me and Debbie, my wife, and my 2 kids and a family friend, and I just couldn't sit at the table. I had to go sit in the car because I was freaking out for no good reason. Nobody was being rude or hassling me in any way. I just freaked out. So that's always a little bit shameful for me. It's a little bit hard. Other than that, things are okay. Debbie's strong. The house is lovely. We're cleaning up a little bit at a time. I'm in touch with a couple friends. I got my writers group today. It's going to be a good turnout. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. How are you feeling? Write it in the chat. We'll talk all about it. But until then, one last chance. Here we go. We already did Roses and Thorns, so I'm calling an audible. We're doing... I'm going to spin again. I can't think of one. I have a hard time making decisions. That's why I have a wheel. A cappella. All right. Nah, you don't like my singing. Let's do... Monologue came up. Let's do one more short monologue. What do you say? Let's do a monologue from... Let's do The Communist Threat. I don't know that one. This is the Communist Threat by Mark McKinney. Whoop, I can't read it. Hold on. Very upsetting. All right, forget it. And it crashed. You know, I think now's a great... Omaha! I think now's a good time to say goodnight. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you had some fun. Hope you relaxed a little bit. Thank you for being here, Tony. Without you, it would have been very, very lonely today. I don't know why that thing's not there. Every week we try to get a little bit better, right? So thank you very much for tuning in. Take care of yourself. And remember, the only way to save this country is for all of us to love one another. So love yourself first, and then love somebody else. Then, if you can, love everybody. That's what I'm trying to do. We'll meet again. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep shining through, just like you always do, and the blue skies will push the dark clouds far away. And would you please say hello to the folks that I know, and tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be good, but not too good. Goodbye.